here's a cute little game. Another damn Civilization game. This is Martin Wallace. I don't know what these are. Spielbox edition. I guess they come in a magazine or something. I bought a little pack of 3 of these. Gave this one a try with my wife. Looks like a little fold out. I don't know where you get the components for them. Because all 3 of my games share the same components. And I don't know, maybe the guy who sold them packaged them in sets with the components. You get components every few magazines or something. The rules, unfortunately, are on the back of the sheet, but you can make a quick photocopy, which I did. Let me explain the game. It's pretty quick. What you're going to be doing, this is supposedly a Civ game, but it's really a track manipulation game. You have a single track. You're going to be rolling dice, and I got to grab myself some 6-siders. Each player needs, you need really 3 dice for the game. And what you do on a turn is each player, starting with the starting player, who will get this little pizza. Yeah, my wife tells me it's not a pizza, but she called it one, and therefore it is. Basically, each player in turn is going to roll the dice, and they get to place some of their, these are cubes, essentially, based on the dice roll. So if I'd rolled a 2, a 4, and a 5, this is what I would get to place. Now, when I roll the dice, I have an opportunity to spend a gold to re-roll any and all of the dice that I wish. So if I don't get the actions, these are going to be actions here that I want, I will roll different dice. I can re-roll some of the dice at a cost. You may ask what this little black thing is. Well, it's also used for cost. Now, after everybody's rolled their dice and put their pieces out on the action track and decided on what they're going to be doing, then you start resolving the actions. And you start from the top of the chart and work your way down. And so here blue would be going first. Here green would be getting an action. Then here, though, they're both in here. And the way you determine that is, if it's the first action of the turn, whoever's holding this, and then clockwise from them, and I'll be doing counterclockwise because that's just the way my mind works when I play solo, will be doing the action before the other person. And timing can be kind of important in this. And after, though, somebody's taken an action already, which would be the case here, blue had done one, green had done one, then the first player is, geez, is it the person who last took an action? The closest to the player who last took an action. So the person after the person who just took one. So blue in this case would be getting this action. Okay, what are the actions? Now let's look at them. This is you get a black thing. Here, you get a choice between these two. This one, well, that's this. That allows you to place a piece. That's one of the more complicated actions. The first piece that you place on the board has to be placed on the writing space. Any later pieces that you play have to be placed precisely one space after a cube that you have on the board. So if I had 2 pieces in here, the first one would go here in writing, the second one would have to go in stone. And they get taken from here. You've got an owned set of cubes at the beginning of the game, 5 cubes along with a gold and a black, and then you have sort of a pool of stock that's your reserves. You can't use those unless you get them, and we'll see that in a moment. This allows you to move pieces on the board. Now, whenever you place or move on the board, you get the effect listed on that space. So for example, when I get here, well, from now on, as long as I have a piece here, this 1 times means for every cube I have, I get this ability. I get sort of a free re-roll on that dice rolling that I don't have to pay a gold for. When I place here, I immediately get myself a black piece, which is sort of a building material or something. And we'll go over all of those in a moment. This allows you to take one of your cubes on the board and move it 1 to 3 spaces. And again, it'll trigger the space. So if, for example, I had this set up, I could place this into writing, and then this allows me 1 to 3. Well, then I could move to one of these spaces and I would trigger that space. So here I would get a black piece, here I would get a new cube from my stock. Here I would get to move a different piece 1 to 3 spaces. So those kind of are neat to land on when you have more than one piece on the board, because it allows you to, move several of your pieces before you take your final advantage, which might be like a couple of black pieces or whatever. This one gives you the option between taking a cube from stock and moving one of the cubes on the board. And you have this sort of weird balance that you're going to be taking of pieces on, how much stock you have available to actually take your actions. If you end up with less than 3 of these when you roll the dice, you don't get to use all your dice. You still get to roll them all, I think. Right? Yeah. And then after everybody's gone and all the cubes have been removed, this shifts down and you start all over again rolling dice. The game ends at the end of a round in which somebody reaches the city. Now there's one thing I haven't explained so far, which is paying for abilities. So let's take a look at the first city here. Here I have to pay one of my black pieces in order to occupy this. So when I move into here, immediately upon doing that, I can spend a black piece and then I can move my cube into that little thing. And that's now a victory point that's mine, perhaps for the whole game. But I can move it and then I'll lose it. Let's look at some others that have pay choices. Just another city. Here, I pay and I'm able to attack another person by removing one of their cubes from any lower valued space. And there's a few wars spaces in the game, but they get more and more expensive as you go. This one looks kind of weird. This isn't described, but with these little boxes here, I think there's a limit to how many people can have cubes in these special spaces. You have to pay to put your cube down here, and then once you do that, you get this free reroll ability, just like you had from writing. But it's more expensive here. Why would you not just leave a piece here? Well, because you want to advance pieces so that you can place pieces in more advanced spaces is basically the reason why. You might want to be here rather than just leaving a piece here. I don't know. Let's see, going further, another war. Trade, you get to exchange your resources for each cube you have there. This one's kind of special. Whoever has the most cubes sitting in this space is going to get 6 victory points at the end of the game. And then here at the city, we have sort of a final space where it's very expensive, but a lot of victory points available. Once you reach that end of the game and the final round's been played out, each player then calculates their victory points, and they add up the victory points they have on the board, plus they will get 1 victory point for every 3 cubes they have available to them, every 3 gold they have, every 3 little black things they have. And that is it. Nice and simple. Yeah, what the hell. I'm going to load this up. I was trying to debate, do I want to try to do this all on a single video, because it is not a long game. But I think having a rules intro is useful. Maybe we won't really need a separate review. So up it goes.